They say that we're making this up, this illegal aliens receiving taxpayer benefits. It's a talking point, they say. Everybody can remember, I think, back to 2020. In the presidential debate, you might remember famously they were asked the question, raise your hand if you believe that illegal aliens should receive health care paid for by American taxpayers. Every single one of them raised their hands. Those hands included Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
What a coincidence. Boy, back when they held the opposite view, the view was the opposite of the view that they voice today, because were it not for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. Plain for all to see. Yes, sir. Now, a story in the news today, and this is kind of an interesting story. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Kash Patel, cuts ties with the Anti-Defamation League on Yom Kippur. The organization, the Anti-Defamation League, which last time I looked was headed up by Jonathan Greenblatt, who was an Obama administration official. He's a lefty, a left-wing Democrat, and he took over the Anti-Defamation League because all these nonprofits pay their people millions and millions of dollars to lie for the Democrat Party. Patel cuts ties. Comey's FBI made with ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, as organization faces backlash for TPUSA criticism. Everything has to be abbreviated, doesn't it? We've got to speak in code. If you worked for the NSA in the 1980s, you wouldn't use as many abbreviations and acronyms as the average person uses today. Just amazing stuff. But this is kind of interesting. That era is finished. The FBI formally rejects Comey's policies and any partnership with the ADL, Kash Patel said. Now, I personally probably wouldn't have gone down the Comey road with him, but okay. FBI Director Kash Patel is cutting ties with the Anti-Defamation League that the Bureau forged under its former boss, James Comey. Now, why would the FBI under James Comey forge ties with an organization led by an Obama administration official who is a left-winger and a frothy left-winger at that? James Comey disgraced the FBI by writing love letters to the Anti-Defamation League and embedding agents with an extremist group, an extreme group functioning like a terrorist organization, and the disgraceful operation they ran spying on Americans that was not law enforcement. It was activism dressed up as counterterrorism, and it put Americans in danger, Kash Patel told Fox News Digital. That era is finished. The FBI formally rejects Comey's policies and any partnership with the ADL. Now, again, the ADL released a statement on Wednesday evening, last night, saying it has deep respect for the Federal Bureau of Investigation and law enforcement. As we prepare to observe the holiest day of the year on the Jewish calendar, we have seen the statement from FBI Director Patel regarding the FBI's relationship with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. And he says, the ADL says, ADL has deep respect for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I wonder if this was written by one of the FBI agents embedded at the ADL under Comey and Biden. And honestly, that we're so corrupt. The city is so profoundly corrupt. And again, the Anti-Defamation League was taken over by Jonathan Greenblatt of the Obama administration. And pay no attention to that. It's just another Democrat Party front group. And they don't really stand up for Israel, and they don't stand up for Jews on campuses in the United States that are being harassed and terrorized. They don't speak up when Jews are being attacked by Democrats in the United States, because the Anti-Defamation League is first and foremost a Democrat group, front group, and they're not first and foremost representing the interests of Jewish Americans. They don't do that, but never mind that. Also, there's more to this, because you see the Anti-Defamation League listed Turning Point USA as an extremist group. Eh? Oh, isn't that fascinating? Isn't that just the FBI was taking their hate group definitions under James Comey. The FBI was taking their hate group definitions from ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, headed by an Obama administration official, which is why FBI was investigating Charlie Kirk, Turning Point, instead of his murderers. Elon Musk wrote on a post on X. In a separate post, Elon Musk referred to the ADL as a hate group. Womp, womp, womp. But honestly, if they're identifying Turning Point USA as an extremist group, then the Anti-Defamation League is just another front group for the Democrat Party, and they identify everybody as so dangerous that they all have to be shot and killed because they're the left. Turning Point USA backgrounder page on the ADL website falls under the Center of Extremism tag and describes the conservative group Turning Point USA as having ties to a range of right-wing extremists and has generated support from anti-Muslim bigots, alt-light activists. I think they meant to say alt-right activists, but it says alt-light activists, something other than a light beer, but who knows. Activists and some corners of white supremacist alt-right. They spelled it correctly that time. Isn't that amazing? The Fox News people did a story on it. They've contacted the Anti-Defamation League for comment, but they haven't responded because they don't respond to Fox News because they're a left-wing group, the ADL is. And they identified, honestly, Turning Point USA as an extremist group. Oh, they've got ties to Muslims and to alt-right, whatever the hell that means. It doesn't mean anything. Another one of their fictional terms. So the FBI has severed ties with the Democrat Party front group called the Anti-Defamation League. And now they're going to play victim because that's what they do. All right, let's get back to the government shutdown, the Democrat Party, the Schumer shutdown, because they lie about everything and then they steal. And when they steal what they want, then you get back to them a minute later, and you know what they want? They want more. More. Like Edward G. Robinson in the movie Key Largo, the gangster who was shooting and killing and terrorizing women and terrorizing the place. And what do you want now? I want more. I want more. And that's what the left always wants. More. They're never done. Speaking of the left always wanting more, and they're never done, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton, in 1993, that's some time ago now, isn't it? 93, then you got 03, then 13, then 23. See, I'm doing my gazintas over here, And, I heard earlier today on the radio, heard a discussion about whether cement should be pronounced cement or cement. Since I'm doing my gazintas, I was reminded of Jethro Bodine on the Beverly Hillbillies. And the debate was, should it be pronounced cement or cement? And, when it's a cement mixer or a cement road, a cement highway, a cement sidewalk at cement. When it's the swimming pool in the backyard, it's the cement pond. Everybody knows that, I think, the cement pond. I just wanted to clarify that because I heard it on the radio. Let's go back to Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton in 1993. That's a long time ago, right? And she was against throwing tons of money at illegal aliens for everything they wanted and health care and full dental and all this stuff. Hillary Clinton in 1993.
We do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is.
And she's got a southern accent there. She grew up in Chicago, and she faked an accent because she's a total fraud, a charlatan. Just a fake from way back because she's Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton. And she used fake accents here and there with, I ain't by no ways tired talking to a black church. And 1993, she, honestly, these people. But she doesn't think that the health care should be extended to illegal aliens. Doesn't want to encourage more illegal immigration to get free medical care. Too many people come to the United States illegally just to get medical care. So she was against it, very much against it, health care for illegals in 1993. And now that we're $37 trillion in debt, thanks to reckless people like her and her husband, very reckless husband in all kinds of ways. Isn't that amazing? Also, let's go to Chuck Schumer from 1996. Chuck Schumer, who's been in Washington since shortly after the end of the Civil War, just like the Democrat Civil War, the first Civil War, as it's known, just like Joe Biden. But here's Chuck Schumer in 1996, 3 years after Hillary Clinton just said that with her fake Southern accent.
This is an anti-fraud amendment. All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
Ah, wow. Hey, wait a minute. You guys were thinking clearly once, and then something terrible happened, and you guys became who you are today. They're not the good guys. Boy, are they not the good guys. All right, Jeff, let's go to a telephone call. Chuck Schumer, as he lies like a pro. Well, that's because he is a pro. 74-year-old Chuck Schumer. He looks a lot older, doesn't he? He looks much, much older. He's not one of the good guys. Boy, is he not one of the good guys. He's been around for a long, long time. Let's go back to the telephones, Jeff. Let's go to Amy calling from Warrenton, Virginia. Amy, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Just great, Amy. Thank you very kindly.
Well, I just want to share my story. 12 years ago, my husband started a custom home building company when I was pregnant with our sixth child.
Wow.
And I didn't work. I homeschooled the children because, I want them to know what a woman is.
That's good.
So back then, he started his own company, and we had to purchase our own insurance because we were going out on our own. And it cost us a little over $800 a month to buy Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance that we thought would be great insurance. And it was great insurance. So all 8 of us, we could pay monthly a little more than $800 a month. But since then, and since Obamacare, and since it's a tax, and since everybody has to have it, and it's a law, every year it's gone up and up and up. And now, 12 years later, when we only have 3 younger children, our 3 younger children are still on the insurance with us. Of course, we want to provide insurance for them. Our 3 older daughters are adults. I know one is even listening in Texas, and she called you a couple of weeks ago. She loved your show.
Excellent.
But now there's only 5 of us on the insurance plan, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. And every year it's gone up. My husband, we have to pay $4,000 a month just to purchase the insurance.
And that's what the Democrats call a success.
Yeah. Yes. And so it cost us over $50,000 a year just to purchase, just for the pleasure of having an insurance. And it's still, and then every year things are, we have to pay for more, we have to pay for more, we have to pay for more. And there's no end in sight. Every year they just raise it and raise it and raise it to the point where we feel poorer now with 5 of us in the house than we did with 8 of us in the house. There's no end in sight.
The left fixed it. They made it better. And then they will, with a straight face or a transgender face, they'll look at you and tell you, yeah, we made it better. It was so terrible before, and we fixed it. And it's Obamacare. And he's like, oh, I'm proud to have it named Obamacare. Trump made fun of him calling it Obamacare. He's, oh, I'm proud to call it Obamacare. And I got to tell you, Amy, I can tell you my story. It's identical to your story. It genuinely is.
It's ridiculous. Obama, said, oh, if you like your plan, you can keep. There was lies. Like you say, if it weren't for double standards, there would be no standards at all. And they continue to destroy. Obama used to say, hey, you didn't build that. Well, you know what? We did build this. We built this company. My husband works hard every day. We built our company. We built our children up to be good, upstanding citizens. And you know what? The left hates it. They hate that we go out on our own, that we aren't sucking from the government heat day in and day out. And they continue to make policies and plans that destroy small business people that are trying to work hard and get by on their own. They hate us.
$50,000 a year. You know, I got to tell you, my best girl and I, we were single and living together at the time. And I had Anthem Blue Cross and she had Anthem Blue Cross separately. Mine was about $300, $320 a month. And my best girl's about $230 a month. So, you know, call it $550 a month. Then Obamacare came along and suddenly mine was $1,300 a month. And my best girl's $1,200 a month. So it went to $2,500 a month thanks to Obama fixing the communists. And it's about stealing our money and redistributing wealth.
Yes, redistributing, yes.
And then controlling.
And it's been tried and tried again.
And controlling everyone's health care, because once the government controls your health care, they can turn it off and take away your health care.
Exactly.
And then you're a slave to the state, because that's what commies aim for. And they want to strip you of your firearms because it's your Second Amendment right. Now, that is an amazing story, Amy. I'm glad you called in and you told it very well. I've run out the clock on you, but I want you to say hello to your daughter in Texas.
Oh, hi, Olivia. Love you.
Hi, Olivia. Love you. We all love you. That's so wonderful. That's great. Yeah, and the Democrats have to be exposed for what they are. They're leftists. They're commies. They say, oh yeah, hopefully I can get Mahmoud, the commie in New York, because he's lying. He was on The View yesterday, lying about everything there. The Democrats, they're not our friends. Great call. Thank you very much, Amy. And Olivia, too.
I am not a dictator. I'm the president.
I like to look stuff up because I've been doing that since I was a little kid. And I reminded myself today that when Chuck Schumer was first elected to the House of Representatives out of New York before he was elected to the Senate, as you might expect. He was, he's been in this forever. He was sworn in for the first time as a member of the House of Representatives January 3rd of 1981. 1981. Served in the House of Representatives until 1999. When he was sworn in, the national debt was $998 billion, below $1 trillion. It was in October of 1981, Chuck Schumer's first year in the House of Representatives, that the national debt crossed $1 trillion. $1 trillion. It was a big news story at the time. Now the national debt is $37 trillion. And he's got a gun to the country's head with the hammer pulled back, and he's demanding another $1.5 trillion for his left-wing pals because he's fundamentally a dishonest man. Now, Governor J.B. Pritzker, known in Bugs Bunny circles as Circumference from the Knights of the Round Table, he inherited billions from his grandfather. Had started the Hyatt hotel chain. They still own the whole shebang. And Pritzker bought the governor's mansion. I assume he'll end up in the penitentiary when he's done, as so many Illinois governors do. But he was out there yesterday calling for President Trump to be removed from office under the 25th Amendment. And he's got headlines all over the place. Pritzker claims Trump has dementia. Yeah, okay. And CBS News, Pritzker compares Trump to Putin, calls for invoking 25th Amendment for suggesting Chicago as, quote, training grounds, end quote. You always got to look out for those quotes where they have one word or two words in quotation marks. That means they're not laying out the sentence that the person spoke. Democrats liken Trump to Putin call for use of the 25th Amendment to have them excluded. CBS News, Pritzker calls for Trump's removal from office under 25th Amendment. And this is just nuts. The Hindustan Times is covering it, too. A better newspaper than the Washington Post, by the way. Democrats call for 25th Amendment against Trump, Sure. What it is, what happens if it's invoked. This is great, the Hindustan Times. The Chicago governor, he's the Illinois governor, but let's not get caught up in who killed who, said the 25th Amendment should be invoked after President Donald Trump suggested the city can be used as military, quote, training ground, end quote. And that's it. All they have is the word training ground in quotation marks. Isn't that amazing? All right. So let's go to, we have a soundbite of Governor Pritzker living off the fat of the land. Boy, does he live off the fat of the land. Here's Democrat Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Suggest that you're going to arrest people or that people don't deserve to be U.S. citizens when they are. When they are. Just because they oppose the President of the United States. I mean, there is something genuinely wrong with this man, and the 25th Amendment ought to be invoked.
And the 25th Amendment ought to be invoked. So the governor of Illinois is calling for the 25th Amendment. It should have been used on Joe Biden because it's about being incapacitated, not up to the job. Then they excise and edit things that he said and lift 2 words here and 2 words there and pretend that they're standing up for something American. Nothing could be more absurd. Isn't that ridiculous? Now, let me go to soundbite number 11, if I could, Jeff, because Bernie the Bolshevik was out there. And he's a communist. He honeymooned in the USSR, the Soviet Union, literally true. And I'm a social democrat. No, what are they? A democratic socialist. That's what they call them, democratic socialist. Socialist, schmotionalist, they'll kill everybody after a while and steal everything. Bernie Sanders, his rhetoric, because they're dialing down the rhetoric. Here is Bernie Sanders.
This, Caitlin, is a very difficult moment in the modern history of this country. I think probably as dangerous as any time since the Civil War period. And I think what the American people are saying, this is not business as usual. We've got to stand up. We've got to fight back.
Ah, yes. The Democrats fought back in the Civil War. They were the Confederate States of America. And they fired on Fort Sumter, and they tried to take over the country. And the blue versus the gray, the Democrat Party was the gray. They were the CSA, the Confederate States of America. You can still find the belt buckles and stuff like that. But it's a Civil War. Now, the Democrat Party gave us the first American Civil War. Now, Bernie the Bolshevik is prattling about Civil War, most dangerous time. You guys should stop assassinating people and shooting people and rioting and attacking federal law enforcement and local law enforcement. And you should stop your kleptocracy. You're a bunch of violent criminals. You're the Democrat Party and shouldn't be allowed to own firearms. I genuinely, if you're a registered Democrat, when you go through your NICS check to buy a firearm, should say, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, you're a registered Democrat, and therefore you're not allowed to own firearms because you guys are shooting way too many people, committing way too many crimes. Let's go to number 10, Bernie the Bolshevik on CNN. Now, he's talking about most dangerous time since the American Civil War when the Democrat Party fired on Fort Sumter, started the Civil War, breakaway states, the Confederate States of America, all the Democrats because they wanted slavery, and the North and the Republicans, with the Republican President Abraham Lincoln, wanted to put an end to slavery, and many, many states already had by the time the Democrats started the American Civil War, the first American Civil War. And now the Civil War rhetoric is back. Most dangerous time since the American Civil War. Yeah, the Democrats are back on horseback, aren't they, with their bullwhips. And they want millions and millions of illegal aliens because they're the Democrat Party's slaves of the 21st century. They're cheap labor that they don't have to be responsible for, but they can sexually assault them and bullwhip them and do all the things the Democrats did in the old days. Bernie Sanders on CNN talking out of both sides of his mouth at the same time with Caitlin Collins.
What you need is a bipartisan solution. What these guys have said, it's my way or the highway. This is the way it's going to be. And that is kind of what Trumpism is about. That's that authoritarian tendency that we're seeing in America right now.
So are you telling me you're willing to vote no every time Leader Thiel
Damn right. I am not going to allow.
But he just said it's the Republicans are saying it's my way or the highway, but he is going to vote no every time because they're trying to bring slavery back. The illegal aliens are their new cheap labor. They don't have to house them or clothe them or feed them. They just abuse them and send them on their way. And ask any Democrat. I had another Democrat yesterday at Newsmax tell me, well, who's going to cut your lawn and clean your gutters and clean the dishes? I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, you're slaves. You're slaves. And they're very casual about it, very matter of fact about it. Who's going to do the back of the kitchen work? And they've been saying this for years now. It's their updated version of slavery. And then you're the villain if you say, no, Americans don't want to do those jobs. How did we ever get by and become the most prosperous, successful country in the history of humankind? We didn't do it with slavery, because all that came long, long after slavery, after the Democrats had their slaves taken away and their bullwhips. Let's go to number 8, soundbite number 8. There's a Democrat congresswoman named Sri Thanadar. And listen to the language that these people use. Her American family traditions go all the way back to Monday. That's how they really dug in here. Her parents didn't fight in the Vietnam War, World War II, or World War I, or the Civil War, and anything else. But it's the third worlding of America. The Democrat Party is leading the charge. Michigan Democrat Representative Sri Thanadar.
We got to make sure Americans have the health care that they need. And if that means we got to shut this government down, so be it. Americans,
when he says Americans have the health care that they need, I thought the Democrats in Obamacare already fixed that a few years ago. They're talking about the millions of illegal aliens they just waved into the country. They need to steal your money in order to pay for all that. And as our brilliant caller Amy was describing, her insurance for the family with husband, wife, married. One was a man, that's the father. One was a woman, that's the mother. She, the birthing person, with 8 people, 6 children, paying $800 a month. Then the Democrats fixed it, and now they're down to 3 kids in the house, and it's $4,000 a month. Okay, isn't that great? That's $48,000 a year. Add postage, that's $50,000 a year. Just extraordinary, because the Democrats have fixed it. And that's Sri Thanadar saying, we have to fix for all America. Have you seen this guy? He looks like some kind of an AI-generated freak. But never mind that. Amazing stuff. And say, if that means shutting down the government, then so be it. And they're talking about health care for illegal aliens is what they're talking about. Now, let's go to number 9. On CNN yesterday, the Lizard King, Chuck Schumer, was on there talking to his close personal friend and supporter, John Berman. He's the anchorman. And John Berman wanted to ask him a question about the shutdown, and Schumer pretended that he couldn't hear anything through his earpiece.
Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name?
Huh? Answer, Lizard King.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me? I don't think Senator Schumer can hear me right now. Maybe the government shutdown included audio on Capitol Hill.
Couldn't possibly hear they just were having a conversation until he asked, hey, it's called the Schumer shutdown. Every Republican on Capitol Hill is calling, oh, I can't hear a thing. We've got technical difficulties here. Aren't they amazing? Yes, sir. Yep. All right, let's go to number 12. Senator John Thune, the Republican leader in the Senate, trying to get the bill passed. Every Republican's voting for it. Every Democrat's voting against it. It's a Democrat shutdown. Schumer is telling them in the Senate, the Democrats, to vote against it. It's the Schumer shutdown. Schumer would steal your children's organs if it would help him pay for coffee today. These people are not on your side. Senator John Thune said, I got to tell you, Senator Thune says, is that this is really all about Trump derangement syndrome. It's about TDS.
They've lost all rationale when it comes to their hatred for President Trump. They can't see straight, they're blinded by it, and they're willing to do what used to be, in their minds, I think, really pretty crazy and stupid things. But that's the world we're now living in.
But that is the world we're now living in. It's Trump derangement syndrome on Capitol Hill. Yes, it is. Now, yesterday, Caroline Leavitt, the wonderful White House press secretary, was out there talking about it as well. And this is actually during an interview, but said, well, what's going on with the government shutdown? And the Democrats, they hate our military. They want it to be a transgender dance troupe. They hate everything. They want to create as much disruption as possible because they're shaking down the American people and the Congress. They're extorting by threatening. They're trying to extort more than $1 trillion out for their friends and allies, their political allies. Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary.
1.3 million active duty troops will work now without pay. Critical food assistance for low-income women, infants, and children will now lapse. Nearly 50,000 members of the United States Coast Guard are going to have to work unpaid. Over 13,000 air traffic controllers will work without pay, as well as TSA agents, which will very likely create flight disruptions. And pay will now stop for over 150,000 federal law enforcement officers. These are not just numbers and statistics. These are real Americans who have families at home.
Democrats don't care. Let me just say that, because it's about power and greed and money and selfishness, and NPR, of course, which is one of their layers of propaganda networks. This one, taxpayer funded. I want $500 million for conservative talk radio to balance out the NPR $500 million Corporation for Public Broadcasting. All right, one more. Let's go to number 14. That's Chuck Schumer again. And listen to this. They speak as children speak, like they're in school. They're in fifth grade. This is Chuck Schumer.
Republicans tried to bully us.
Bully?
And it's clear they can't.
They can't bully us.
They don't have the votes. The way out of this is for Republicans to finally roll up their sleeves and get to work.
Get to work doing away with the filibuster and pass the bill with 50 votes and marginalize Schumer to the point where, AOC is going to run against him in the primary because they're not well. Boy, are they not well. All right, we've got, I've got so much more. I hope to get to The View yesterday, too, because they're the Democrat Party's propaganda. That's ABC News, but that's crazy stuff. The big wireless companies have been pulling one over on all of us, and it's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I made the switch. I get the same fast, reliable, nationwide, big wireless coverage, same towers, same transmitters, without the big wireless cost every month. And it may not be just about saving money every month, although that's real good. It's also about not being used and abused and taken for granted by the cell phone company that you have right now. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? I certainly have no idea myself. Most people 50 years and up use less than 8 gigs of data in a month, but the big wireless people, they shove you into an unlimited plan so you can pay for the 19-year-olds that use 10 times as much data as you use. That's redistribution of your wealth. And if you're not using all that data, you are the one being used and abused. When you've had enough of that, make the switch to consumer cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone. It's incredibly easy to make the switch. You speak to an actual human being on the phone, not a touchpad or a robot. And they're right here in the United States, the person you talk to, not a bot stationed far, far away. They're incredibly helpful, and it only takes about 20 minutes to make the switch. So give them a call today and make the switch. You'll be glad you did. Call them at 1-800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Yeah, the propaganda apparatus of the Democrat Party. Did you catch this yesterday on The View? That's coming. Where do you hear this? Texting, as I do throughout the day, texting with a friend, a great American, Ron DeFore, texting with my friend Ron DeFore, and he came up with a great suggestion that I think the White House should pay attention to. President Trump should preside over a huge naturalization ceremony swearing in new American citizens on the south lawn of the White House, right? Trump should preside over a huge swearing-in ceremony on the south lawn of the White House to underscore the difference between legal immigration and illegal immigration. The Democrats can smoke crack with gang members from Venezuela while the president is having a swearing-in ceremony with great new American citizens. I think that's a wonderful idea. Just a great idea. Yes, sir. Now, let me go to yesterday because at The View on ABC Network, where Jimmy Kimmel works, he's out there whining like he's a hero of some kind. And he's still pretending Trump suspended him and not ABC News. Totally fake. But Zoran, don't mess with the Zoran. Mamdani the commie is going to be the next mayor of New York City, it looks like. And he went naturally on the zoo to get a tongue bath yesterday from the beasts over there. Joy Behar got things going. Hey, are you a commie?
Number one, he's attacking you as a communist. Are you?
No, I'm a democratic socialist. That means I believe in dignity for all people.
Oh, I'm going to clap. Being a socialist.
You're not a communist. I agree with that.
No, I'm not a communist.
No, socialism murdered 100 million people. They call it communism. They call it socialism. It's the same flipping thing. They murder people by the tens of millions. Is it for dignity for all people? The United States created the premier society in the history of the world that allowed for dignity for all people. You maroon. Socialists steal everything that you have at gunpoint, and they beat your teeth out with a rifle butt. But these idiots are too dumb to know that. Here's Zoran Mamdani the commie.
You know, a lot of New Yorkers have asked me, what does it mean that you're a democratic socialist?
Yeah.
Listen
and
to
I
this.
tell them to think about the words of Dr. King from decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There has to be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's the heart of it.
Martin Luther
So
King.
you're like sort of like a Scandinavian type of politician, I would say, right?
A little more brown, but yes.
Okay.
Oh, a little more. He's a racist, too. Maybe the race card should come out. Yeah, they always quote Martin Luther King, who was shot and murdered by a Democrat Party presidential campaign volunteer, James Earl Ray, but never mind that. Whoopi Goldberg, whose real name is Karen Johnson.
On day one, why aren't you going to big corporations like Amazon and Google and making sure that they pay?
Shakedown. Make sure they pay.
Really help the city raise up and get us where we need to do. Because I need to hear somebody say, because it's the thing nobody says. They say, oh, we're going to make people pay, but they're not clear.
Look, if you were running for mayor, I'd be voting for you. Because I think
you're all
mentally
impaired.
To your point,
yeah,
the
because
corporate greed that we're seeing in this country, it cannot be separated from the level of inequality that people
Lenin said the goal of socialism is communism.